everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I just finished watching the first two episodes of X-Men 97, and like a lot of people, I grew up remembering watching the X-Men show. I'll admit I was not diehard into it. I don't think it was something I knew of. I've seen glimpses of growing up. I remember it being on TV as a 90s kid, but I was much more of a Pokemon and Power Rangers kid than I was an X-Men kid. Maybe I just didn't get up early enough to watch the show when it came on, I don't know, but I knew of its existence. I knew it happened, and when Disney Plus dropped, I did attempt to watch most of it. I think I'm like in season 4, so I think I'm close to the end. So, you know, I'm just gonna tell you straight up, I have not finished watching the original series, and I was a little concerned going into this one that, like, okay, I'm gonna miss something huge, and I will say, kind of. So basically what we're dealing with here is, as you saw from the trailer, at the beginning of this, which is acting as a direct sequel to that old show, we're happening 1 year later after Charles Xavier, they say, was killed in a courtroom. And apparently this is something that happens in the last episode of the original show, but he does not die in that show. In fact, he goes on a spaceship and he goes with what's her name, Leandra or whatever, the bird people. He goes off with them to go get healed in space, and that's how the original show ends. But this one starts everyone saying that he died. They have a death certificate, they're reading his last will and testament, and I don't know, it's interesting, you know. I think they're gonna leave that as like a dangling thread, like, is he actually dead? We're gonna leave it really vague. Everyone's talking for sure as if he is dead, you know, like they're referring to that one guy as his killer. So yeah, guys, I don't know, Charles Xavier might really be gone. They might have just decided, like, okay, yeah, he went to space and then he just died there. He succumbed to his wounds or whatever, and he never came back. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an ongoing mystery. I'm sure there's going to be more to it, but for now, they're treating it very much as a real death. And we're basically just moving on, like, what happens to the X-Men once Xavier's gone. So you have Cyclops trying to take over that leadership role. Meanwhile, Jean Grey is pregnant with their kid, and you know, everyone's just still trying to adapt to everything, but luckily they have good relations with the UN. So, you know, there's at least a surface level, like, good, you know, relations with public officials and humanity, and the X-Men are, like, officially the good guys, and everything kind of seems okay, even though Charles Xavier is gone, right? Like, that was like the price of his sacrifice. Being killed at the UN was like, oh, everyone feels bad for them now, and everyone's like, oh yeah, you know what, a bunch of bigots killed Charles Xavier live on TV, so you know what, maybe they're not so bad. Maybe the X-Men are the good guys here. Yeah, basically what we're dealing with here is we have a group who is called the Friends of Humanity, and I remember that this is a group in the original series, so this is a reoccurring group, and they've kidnapped a young mutant, and apparently some mysterious person is paying like thousands of dollars for just any mutant that they can grab, which is insane. So the X-Men come in and they rescue this person, but they have Sentinel tech, which all the Sentinels are supposed to have been destroyed. You know, that was like a big thing. They kept on having to destroy Master Mold over and over again in that original show. So, you know, they think the Sentinels are gone, and yet somehow these guys have like miniaturized Sentinel blasters. So they stop all them, they save the kid, they bring him back, and then at the very end of the first episode is what we saw in the trailer, is Magneto shows up and he reads the last will and testament of Charles Xavier, and it says basically that Magneto's in charge now. He gets the mansion, he gets the money, he gets the team. Magneto gets everything, which I suppose makes sense from Charles Xavier's point of view. Like, you know, they kind of just say, like, yeah, he always had hoped that, you know, Magneto would come back as a good guy, you know, like there was still hope in him to change his ways. And that's basically what we're kind of dealing with over the course of these first two episodes is, you know, can you trust Magneto? Can Magneto be a good guy in X-Men, you know? And so basically what ends up happening is that the government shows up. Magneto has to go to court at the UN to answer for his many crimes against humanity. And basically it's just this whole thing of like, can Magneto prove that he's willing to be a good person? And of course the whole thing gets attacked. There's a whole break-in at the UN. A bunch of protesters show up, this guy in masks, and look, I'm not gonna say that it was directly meant to parallel a certain event that happened only a couple years ago, but it really looked like a certain event that happened a couple years ago in real life. So yeah, anyways, so basically you got these Friends of Humanity show up. All these protesters are attacking everyone, and they got to try and protect Magneto, who's, he was handcuffed and he had like this power dampening collar on, and so this masked guy tries to take a shot at Magneto, and what ends up happening is that he accidentally shoots Storm. Storm jumps in the way of the bullet. And it seems, for now at least, that Storm has permanently lost her powers, which, happens all the time in superhero comics. So you have to imagine, just like Charles Xavier being, dead, you have to imagine this might be a temporary thing. But she's going to be gone for a little while. I'm sure she's going to, self-discovery and all that. But anyways, for now, pretty crazy. Storm's powers are gone. What's gonna happen with that? Meanwhile, all of that was happening while everything was going on. Jean Grey is having the baby, and Logan has to drive her to the hospital, and the doctor does not want to deliver the pregnancy of a mutant because he's scared that you'll lose control of your powers, so like the show's not being subtle at all. Like yeah, bigotry all over. This is exactly the show as it always was, right? Yes, this doctor doesn't want to deliver the baby, so Rogue is able to absorb the doctor's knowledge of medical expertise by touching him, which I knew that she could take powers, obviously, right? But like, she can take his medical expertise. That feels like a new thing. That doesn't seem like something that was always there. Can she just take someone's knowledge that way, like their education? I don't know. That seems like a stretch to me, right? Because that feels like it's bordering on like a telepathy type thing. You're just taking their knowledge. I don't know. Kind of weird, but whatever. It works apparently. So now Rogue can be a doctor, I guess. In any case, they deliver the baby. They name it Nathan, who, by the way, it's Cable. This is the baby Cable right there, from Deadpool 2. Baby Cable right there. Anyways, and everything seems to be fine for now. Like Storm lost her powers. It's all really dramatic. Scott and Jean were trying to leave, but now they're not going to leave. But now maybe they are going to leave because Storm leaves a note and she's gone, right? And I guess she also partially did this that way Jean and Scott wouldn't feel like they have to stay behind. Like maybe they can just go live their life with their kid. So they're trying to leave. Meanwhile, we get like the most unexpected twist in the world. I mean, maybe not to comic book readers, because I've heard that this is something that happens in the comics, but they're discussing how they're leaving, and Magneto's like the leader now, and he got like a full pardon, and like everything seems like it might be kind of okay for now, even though Storm is gone. Someone knocks on the door, and of course, who is it but another Jean? The real Jean, maybe? So at some point there must have been a Jean Grey switch, and I have to imagine that they're going to like flash back to some older episode, and they're gonna be like, oh, it happened during this episode here. This is when the real Jean Grey got switched with, I don't know, a clone or whatever. However they're gonna say this other Jean Grey, who just had the baby, by the way, is like a clone or a copy or something weird like that. But yeah, very fascinating. That's obviously going to complicate things, especially because, like, imagine you're Cyclops. And imagine you're Cyclops and you just had a baby with your wife, and then another version of your wife shows up. And it's like, what? what do you do? You know, like, this baby belongs to the other one. And I mean, I guess you got to do a test to figure out which one is the original one, but also, like, how much does that matter though, right? Because you have a baby with the other one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's very lots of conflicting things happening here. I mean, I guess you kind of just, I feel like you got to raise the kid no matter what, right? So, you know, but I don't know. Tricky situation. I guess all that drama will unfold next week. Also, something else that's happened, and I don't know. I've never heard of this being a thing. I don't know if this is a thing in the comics. I'm not like an X-Men expert. Rogue and Magneto had like a past, and they get like romantic in some moments, and they start holding hands, and then Gambit's getting all jealous. He sees them like walk away together down a hallway, and like, I don't know, Rogue and Magneto, that's not a, I don't know, that's not a pairing that I've ever seen depicted anywhere, and it feels weird. Like, I don't know about that. It's very strange, but they seem to, okay, I guess we'll see where this goes. I got some research to do. I need to finish watching the original show. I need to look up some comic book lore to be like, all right, was Rogue Magneto, was that ever a thing? You know, I'm sure I'm gonna get spoiled by whatever this clone Jean Grey is, or copy of Jean Grey, whichever one's the original, whichever one's the fake one. I'm sure they're adapting certain storylines, but like, you know, in their own way, in their own version. But yeah, overall, I gotta say, like, these first two episodes were crazy action heavy. Like, some of the sequences here, especially like they're flying in the jet, and then out of nowhere Sentinel just like rips the roof off, and they're all falling, and they all have to find different ways to land. And the way they've utilized Cyclops' powers in this show so far, like just using them so like he can like basically skate around by pushing himself in different directions, and he can land from falling from the jet just by like lasering into the, you know, concussive blasting into the ground. They're not lasers, I know. But yeah, just overall, like, the animation, especially during the action sequences, is really great. But also they're still trying to, like, you can tell they like, it's just got like a low frame rate because they're trying to sort of mimic the animation style of the original series, but also, you know, it's kind of difficult. I mean, that original series looked like that for budgetary reasons. So yeah, very interesting. I feel like they've done a really, really good job. Lots of questions set up immediately, and even for someone like me who has not seen all of the original show and I don't know all of the X-Men lore, I feel like I was able to keep up like really well. They explained everything that they had to explain for someone like me who has not, you know, doesn't know all of it already. I didn't feel lost at all, and so that's a really good sign. I feel like a lot of people are going to walk into this show either having never seen the original show, or maybe they just kind of forgot what happened, because there is a lot of characters and there's a lot of story beats and a lot of stuff. It feels like they're calling back to older stuff, but also I did not feel lost. I didn't feel like I was like, you know, oh, I'm really confused about what's happening. Like, no, they explained everything really clearly. It's all adding up, you know. But now I definitely need to go finish the original show, because, like, okay, they're talking about stuff and they're showing glimpses of characters that I'm like, I know this was a character. Like, they have the mutants in the sewers, and I'm like, I remember them being a thing, but like, I don't remember how important they ever actually were. I just remember them existing at some point. But anyways, yeah, Storm lost her powers. There's a mysterious second Jean Grey. Magneto and Rogue are a thing? Question mark. Xavier, they're sure acting like he's dead, like dead. And I don't know, I feel like we're at this point where, like, he might be gone. Xavier might really be gone. Like, I know a lot of people are still saying, like, no, he's probably just in space somewhere, but like, why would they fake his death so thoroughly, right? Like, they got a death certificate, they're reading his last will and testament, like, and here's the thing, they're not like in front of anyone. They're not like in front of anyone who like, oh, we got to keep this a secret that he's still alive. Like, they're not in front of cameras or anything. So why, you know, they're like talking amongst themselves, and they're still like, oh yeah, he's dead. He was killed by this guy. I'm like, oh, so he's dead then. Like, I don't know. I don't know, guys. Xavier, I think he's gone. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be some kind of twist because it's superheroes, but I don't know. For now, it seems like he's gone, which is crazy. Man. But yeah, overall, just I'm really digging this. You know, I'm really proud of what they were able to do so far. Everyone seems really excited about it. Tons of questions still, just tons and tons of questions. I know, what's his name, Mr. Sinister is supposed to play some big part here. So why there's 2 Jean Greys, I'm sure he has something to do with it. All right, let me know what you guys think about X-Men 97, the first 2 episodes. I'll see you guys later. Bye.